Some of your comments have made some of my best videos, and Huanjai Ki, I hope I pronounced that right, asked a question, a very interesting question about Scottish languages, and I thought I could make a short video about this. I've made some quite longer videos recently, and it'd be good to give you a shorter one now and then so I could keep up the pace. And Huanjai Ki asking the difference between Scots, Doric, Scots Gaelic, Nynorn, and Shetlandic. Now this is interesting because it gives me an opportunity to explain something that I find very interesting about Scotland. Now this channel does focus a lot on the Welsh language and nation, but Scotland is part of this island, which I love. Two things that make that true. I have a Scottish American granddad, which I'm very fond of my Scottish ancestry, by the way. And the second thing is, Scotland has never been one language, which makes it quite unique on this island. It's maybe in pre-Roman times it was probably different in terms of different linguistic groups. So look at this map here. Now this isn't to the question yet, but you have 4 dominant groups. This is from early medieval times. You have the Britons, or the Welsh basically, the Anglo-Saxons, which spoke their Saxon or language or Old English, and you have the Picts, which would have spoken a language very close to Old Welsh, probably a bit more complicated grammatically and less Latin influence. And then you have the Gaels, which emerged out of Ireland, settling the west coast and the Isles of Scotland. And the linguistic composition of Scotland is nothing like this today, but this has affected and continues to influence the shifting linguistic composition of Scotland. And so going forward, Scots emerged out of this Anglic group, kind of moving in on top of where the Pictish territory was. But keep in mind, all of these languages changed over time. And so Anglic, by the way, was and is the group of languages that's English, Scots, Frisian, okay? So this is a sister language to English, but it had 2 main influences that English simply did not have in abundance. And that's, you had a Flemish group, a large Flemish group, basically a variety of Dutch, move into Scotland, the lowlands. And something that makes Scots very unique is the Welsh influence, which is very clear. You get words like crwt. You do get a Welsh influence on Scots, which is basically wholly absent further south in English. So what about Doric? Well, as Scots emerged and moved and expanded across, especially as Flemish influence expanded and people were brought in, the Scots language did change. And you get Doric up in the northeast, which probably has some inflections left over from what was there before in Pictish. And don't confuse this with Doric Greek. That's completely different. I don't know why they use the same name. Doric Greek, Doric Scots. But Doric Scots is a dialect of Scots. Scots is a language with different dialects, and it's simply the Scots spoken in the northeast of Scotland. There you go. Nynorn, also Norn. Well, there's a bit of an explanation there I need to get into. Norn was a language, basically Old Norse, sort of, more like Norwegian, but between the two, spoken in Orkney and Shetland, and on the Northern Cape there, kind of Caithness, the far north of Scotland. and it went out and extinct by 1850. Now, there are a group who want to revive this language, Nynorn, and I don't know how they're getting along. I don't think there's very many, but as someone who thinks we should revive Cornish, opposite side of the island, I do think that investing in these linguistic heritages are worth our time as a human species. So, good luck. Scots Gaelic is, well, when the Irish or Gaels settled the west of Scotland and intermarried a lot with the Picts, they really did create a new language. When I look at Scots Gaelic, it's not simply Irish, though there is some clear mutual intelligibility. There's clear Pictish and Old Welsh influence on Scots Gaelic. It's simpler, it uses a few words which are more familiar to Welsh speakers than you would have in Irish. And it's spoken today mostly on the Outer Isles, but you do get communities in all parts of Scotland who have interest in the language or seek to promote it. I hope it does not go out of use. It is not in a good position, but it has at least enjoyed a revival of interest due to the Scottish government, to their credit, and I hope this wonderful tradition in Scotland continues, because Scotland, as I said, has never been one linguistic community. Shetlandic. Now, this is another dialect of Scots, but as these dialects are widespread in terms of geography, they have different influences upon them. So Shetlandic has a lot of influences from Norn, that Norse-derived language that I mentioned, and that makes it very unique. Shetlandic has that Viking flavor to it, which makes it stand out in its own way. And one thing that I found when researching this video is Shetland speakers speak very slow, which as a Texan living in Britain is very comforting, because why are people here so quick in their speech? And I find that when British people imitate American accents, each and every single time they get the same thing wrong. They speak too fast. And so film directors out there, get someone from Shetland. They might be at the right speed to imitate American accents. And so to Huanjaiki, I hope that answers your question. And for any of you still watching this video, diolch, thank you. I hope you see that some of your comments and questions provide me with the best video ideas. And so do leave a comment if you have some kind of nagging question. I may be able to answer it for you. Diolch yn fawr, hwyl fawr. We'll see you next time.